Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the head of state chairs the work of the fifth session of the Council of Ministers. The Constitutional Council proclaims the final results. And for the international scene, in Europe, several countries are facing for a renewed epidemic COVID-19. Welcome to our newsroom. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, head of government, took place Tuesday, March 2022, the fifth meeting of the Council of Ministers. The following texts were examined and approved. The Minister of Urbanism and Housing, the first question is communication on the strategy of the development of the city. The Minister of City, Urbanism and Habitat made a communication to the Council of Ministers on the strategy of development of cities. She indicated that the Djiboutian cities will be the crucible of all the challenges of development and social, economic and cultural transformations. Indeed, she stressed that rapid urbanization has greatly increased the need for housing and led the government took place the urban development and housing sectors among the priority for public and private investment. Thus, his department has undertaken work to produce plot and housings to meet the needs of all the inhabitants. Thus, in Djibouti City, 12,893 plots have been allocated and 3,072 plots are underway in the Farahad extension zone. Within the framework of the public and private real estate development activity, a series of actions have been undertaken, such as the productions of 2,044 apartments and the constructions of 2,413 villa and 564 apartments in Balbala South. The EOJ Foundation in Nasiba produced 2,568 housing units in the region. The productions of plots and housing are also planned, and the minister listed all the plots and housing scheduled for 2022 by region. On the other hand, she stressed the need to instill a new dynamic and promote the development of a city able to assume its role as a political and economic capital city while strengthening the amicable transfer on the all district. It is within this framework that the ministry intends to set up an operational plan to upgrade the old neighborhoods in parallel with the implementation of the Zero Slums program. This plan aims to understand the issue, the obstacles, and the potential for development of the various neighborhoods in the area, plan of upgrading of neighborhoods, and regulate all planned urban planning operation. It also informs that the detailed development plans of the various master plans are being prepared, whose objective is to provide the public authorities in charge of urban management with operational tools for the emergence of productive cities, offering their inhabitants the elements of suitable living conditions, housing, jobs, educational facilities, health, and transport. In addition, they must clearly define the role and responsibility of the various actors, stakeholders in planning and urban management, especially in a context of decentralization. It emphasizes that the main purpose are to address the complex challenges that require integrated interventions, move from a sectoral cross-cutting approach, integrating all challenges and solutions, and capitalize on the efforts already undertaken to maximize the synergies and impact of multi-sectoral interventions and contribute to defining the roadmap for the development of more sustainable and inclusive city, offering a better quality of life. Thus, she also said that a geographic information system has been established. Finally, she indicated that the issue of housing finance remains paramount to this, and the ministry has initiated measures to put in place an action plan to promote these components. Regarding the institutional components, it is planned to establish a code of urban planning and land development, the development of a specific urban planning regulations for major arteries of the capital, and the intensification of controls and the fight against illegal constructions. This strategy of development of the cities aims at the improvement of the living conditions and the well-being of the population, and the control of the development of the cities. The Presidency of the Republic. The second question is draft decree on the creations of the grand prize of the health state for the promotions of disabled person. The integrations of the disabled people is a master of humanity and equality. The draft decree aims at creating the grand prize for the promotions of disabled person, which is intended to encourage researches and proposal of initiatives and innovative solutions to improve the living conditions of disabled persons and promote their full and effective participation in Djibouti society. During the celebrations of the International Day of Persons with Disability on the 2 December 2021, the National Agency for Persons with Disability had launched the grand prize of the health state for the promotions of the person with disabilities. The draft decrees has set the framework for the organizations of the competition for this grand prize of the health state, including the different prizes, the compositions of the jury, and the modalities of participation in the competition. The adoption of the draft decree is in line with the government's policy aiming at promoting and enhancing the value of disabled persons in economic and social life. The Minister of Budget, the third issue draft decree amending Decree 2020 establishing a National Public Debt Committee. This decree amends certain provisions of the decree establishing the National Public Debt Committee adopted in 2019 with the aim of better controlling public debt in line with the state's financial capacity. This coordinating body, which brings together the main actors involved in the debt circuit, is part of the implementation of the public debt policy and the strengthened coordinations between the actors. The committee's role is crucial for debt monitoring and for the implementation of the reforms needed to ensure public debt sustainability. With this in mind, it was decided to amend the aforementioned decree by introducing a number of revisions aimed, among other things, emphasizing the main mission of the National Public Debt Committee relating to the examinations of new BAM and the issuance of reasoned opinions, broadening its permanent membership with the inclusions of the Port Authority and the Sovereign Wealth Fund, to strengthen the technical committee with key technical departments and directorates, and improving the committee's referral procedure, as well as increasing the frequency of committee meeting. The fourth issue, draft orders allocating a parcel of land located in Shebele for the benefit of the Ministry of Interior. The purpose of the draft orders is to allocate to the Ministry of the Interior a parcel of land with an area of 225 hectares located in Shebele. These parcels of land is made available to the Office of the Road of Djibouti and intended for the establishment of a treatment center for solid waste of the city of Djibouti and a sorting center. The fifth issue, draft orders amending order number 2020-14 of November 16, 2020 on the allocations of a plot of land located at PICA 23 to the Minister of Justice. The purpose of the draft orders is to amend order number 2021-14 PR in its Article 1 and 2. Indeed, a plot of land at PICA 13 with an area of 14.2 hectares is assigned to the Ministry of Justice and Prison Affairs in charge of human rights. The said parcels of land is intended for the establishment of the future prisons. The sixth questions draft order on the separations of a plot of land located at Pika 20 Lane 19 and allocations to the company Golden Africa Djibouti SRL. It is made distractions to the land title is subscribed in the land book in the name of the Chamber of Commerce of a parcels of land of a surface of 38,000 meter square. These parcels of land is assigned to the Golden Africa Djibouti SAL company and intended for the extensions of the investment activities of the said company. The Minister of Trade and Tourism is the fifth question draft decree on the organizations and functioning of the Djibouti Agency for Standards and Quality, taken pursuant to Article 18 of Law number 100 on the establishment of the Djibouti Agency for the Standards and Quality. On January 2021, the draft decree said that the organizations and operation of this EPIC placed under the Ministry of Trade and Tourism. The creation of this body responds to an imperative of quality approach to which the Republic of Djibouti has subscribed, aware of the fact that any economic development cannot be efficient and if it is does not include in the approaches of a quality system consisting of standardizations, metrology, certifications, and accreditation to the DNA and structures of the center of the government strategy for standardization, quality control, and promotion of metrology and accreditation. The main mission is entrusted to the agencies is to lead and coordinate the process of the standards development and to promote their applications for a better contribution to the socio-economic development of the country. It will also aim to build with the stakeholders structures economic competitive performance respectful of the environment and the welfare of Djiboutians. The draft decree complete the legal arsenals relating to the national system of standardizations and quality promotion. The eighth question is draft decree appointing the members of the Board of the Directors of the Djibouti Agency for Standards and Quality. The draft decree is the appointment of the members of the Board of the Director of the Djibouti Agency for Standards and Quality in accordance with the provisions of the Article 7 of the law establishing the Djibouti Agency for Standards and Quality. The appointment of the Board of Directors completes the legal framework of the Djibouti Agency for Standards and Quality to ensure good administrative governance communication. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation reported on the sixth session of the Djibouti-Yemeni Joint Ministerial Commissions held on 2021 March 2022 in our country. The Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqf reported on his working visit to Doha from 19 to 23 March 2022. The Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development made a report on the missions of the fifth session of the United Nations Environment Assembly and the celebrations of the 50th anniversaries of the United Nations Environment Programs, which was held from 28 February to 5 March 2022 in Nairobi. The statement of the President of the Constitutional Council, Abdi Ibrahim Absi, Tuesday, March 2022, on the occasions of the proclamation of the final results of the regional and communal elections of March 11, 2022. The Good Morning the Constitutional Council meet this morning, March 2022, the announce of the final results of the regional and communal elections of March 11, 2020. Thanks to the wisdom of the Djiboutian people, the elections took place in a calm and serene manner. The Constitutional Council, which is responsible for ensuring the regularity of these elections under the Constitution, in order to guarantee the authenticity of the expressions of the will of people, is pleased with the smooth running of the elections, and I would like to thank all the candidates as well as the voters as a whole in order to carry out its missions of control and proclamations of the results. The Constitutional Council carried out a verification on documents, and before proceeding to the consultations of some polling stations, the final results were decided by decision 22022 of the Constitutional Council sitting in its formal sessions on March 20, 2022. The chairman of the Constitutional Council has announced that the official results of the elections of the local government and regional government assembly on March 11. I would like to thank the people of Djibouti for the best participation in the elections of the countries which we have recently and the Constitutional Council of the country has received the organizations of elections at the state government and the local government assembly. The Constitutional Council is determined to announce the official results of the elections of the local government and regional elections council in the countries and the 5 regions of the country. Concerning Rastika district, has a vote a lot of 3,632 voters and 2,092 vote has been recorded, and for UMP vote 2,058 vote and also received 9 seats. The Bulaus district registered a total of 69,371 persons and 49,800 people voted and 71% participant. UMP voted 48,049 votes and received 69 seats. Balbala district has a vote registrations of 61,893 persons and 39,493 votes, 63.81% participate in the elections and voted. Also vote to UMP 338,565 vote for UMP, and Artas region is reached a total of 10,861 person and 8,340 votes and 76.55% vote. UMP vote for UMP 8,053 votes and others and received 11 seats. In the Dakhel region is registered 22,233 persons and 21,204 votes voted and 92% voted for UMP, to 20,870 votes and also got 23 seats. In Tajura region is registered 18,455 persons and 16,000 votes and 86%. UMP vote 15,822 votes and also received 18 seats. In Obok region required 11,462 persons and 10,227 votes and 89% votes for UMP and 10 seats. 11 seats and in Ali Sabih region is registered 17,148 persons and 9,022 persons voted, attended 52% of the voters and UMP voted 7,502 voters and Wadani party has recorded 706 votes and received 1 seat. Finally, the National Party voted to 646 voters, not seat received. The Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed received yesterday, Monday, 21 March 2022, at the primacy Dr. Ahmed Awad bin Mubarak, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriate of Yemen. After welcoming the Yemeni ministers warmly, the two parties discussed ways and means to further deepen the bilateral relations of the two countries. The discussion is also focused on the situations in Yemen in general, Let us recall that the Yemeni Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Expatriate Dr. Ahmed Awad bin Mubarak participate in the sixth session of the Djibouti-Yemen Joint Ministerial Commissions in the presence of his Djiboutian counterpart Mahmoud Ali Yusuf. The sixth sessions of the Djibouti-Yemen Joint Ministerial Commission is held in its proceedings at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation on 20 to 21 March 2022. It was co-chaired by His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Djibouti Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, spokesman of the government, and His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Awad bin Mubarak, Yemeni Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates. The two sides discuss bilateral cooperation issue and ways to further develop them. They also exchanged and on the regional and international situations of common interest in this regard. It was agreed as follows. Both sides expressed their satisfactions with the level of bilateral relations between the two countries and stress the determinations of the leaders and government of the two countries to develop them in accordance with the common interest and benefits, praising the spirit of cooperation and coordination between the two brotherly countries in all international forums. The two sides expressed their satisfactions at the renewal of signing of a number of executive programs in the field of security, education, and higher education, youth, sports, industry, health, as well as the signing of a memorandum of understanding on the establishment of a mechanism of political consultation so as to strengthen the relations of joint cooperation between the two countries. For his part, the Yemeni Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Ahmed Awad bin Mubarak, thanked the government and peoples of the Republic of Djibouti for the facilities they provide to the Yemeni communities in light of the circumstances the Republic of Yemen is going through following the Houthis militias coup against constitutional legitimacy and its plundering of the state's capabilities. For his part, His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, said that expressed their condemnations of all forms of terrorism and their support for regional and international efforts to confront and combat these dangerous phenomena and to address the reasons behind in its concert with the efforts of the international community. After the reception yesterday, Sunday, at the embassy in Addis Ababa, we had a meeting with the Ambassador Abdi Mahmoud Heibe to review the missions of the Republic of Djibouti to the African Unions and especially the Peace and Security Councils. We also discussed with him the economic diplomacy in view of a strong diplomatic presence in Ethiopian capitals. Here is an excerpt from this interview conducted by Abdurrahman Shibashi. The Ministry of Labor is continuing its initiative on the labor migrations governance. Yesterday, the Diplomatic Institute served as an auditorium for a capacity building workshop on the governance of labor migration placed under the aegis of the Minister of Labor in charge of formalization and social protection, Omar Abdi Said. This workshop was enhanced by the participation of the Minister of Interior, Said Nur Hassan, the representative of the International Organization for Migration, the Ambassador of the European Union, the directors of the ILO Addis Ababa countries' offices, and by senior officials of the administration. The objectives of this three-day meeting is to familiarize senior officials from the different departments of the Ministry of Labor, as well as relevant ministries and departments with the concept, regulations, and the best practices in labor migration governance, and to develop a roadmap on the next.
At IGAD level, IGAD member states have made commitments in achieving greater regional integration and improving labor migration governance through the development of appropriate legal and policy frameworks, including the IGAD policy framework and the protocol on free movement of persons. With the globalized world, we cannot stop mobility. That is basically people moving from one place to another. We are saying at the onset we cannot stop mobility, people moving from one place to another. People have been moving all along whenever there is an opportunity for people to move. That is something that is given. And also the second to that is the fact that by having organized migration, both the individuals and their families, the countries that are sending and the receiving countries all would benefit. And the question and one of the reasons behind this workshop is how do we have organized labor migration within the sub-region, globally, and also looking at it from Africa's perspective.
In the same vein, the Minister of Interior Said Nur Hassan added that the capacity building is essential for the implementation of migration policies that meet the needs of our country. Indeed, the aim is to raise awareness among senior officials of the central services of the Ministry of Labor as well as public institutions under its responsibility and officials of other ministries concerned. In addition, in the medium and long terms, it will contribute to the development of a policy or strategy of labor migrations for Djibouti with the collaborations of all key actors involved in the issue of migration and especially labor migration. And finally, the Minister of Labor has, in a sealed indictment, has specified that this same phenomena play an important role in determining the dynamics of migrations. He added that an adequate regulatory framework and inclusive labor migrations policies at the sub-regional level based on international standards are essential to enhance the development potential of migration. The Minister of Labor and Social Protection, His Excellency Omar Abdi Said, received in the offices the Director of the Addis Ababa International Association, Alexio Musindo. In this meeting of the ministers discussed the directors of the offices of the partnership cooperation. This meeting discussed a few points on the priority of the ministry, especially the protections of the social protection. The directors has promised that he will support the Ministry of the Work, which is necessary. Finally, it was agreed to strengthen the cooperation between the Ministry of Labor and the International Organization for Labor. The president of the International Swimming Federation, Hussein Al Musallam, arrived this Sunday, March 20, in Djibouti with delegations of a dozen people, including 2 Olympic champions. The delegations was welcomed at Humbly Airport, International Airport, by the Secretary of State in charge of sports, Hassan Mohammed Kamil, and the president of the Olympic Committee, Aisha Garad Ali. After meetings with the ministers, the delegation proceeded to the visit of the national pool, where they were warmly welcomed with folk dances and songs. After praising the work done by the federations and the ministries appreciated the jewel, the first pool of the countries to international standards. Mr. Al Musallam added that young Djiboutian athletes will soon benefit from training in major swimming centers. The triple Olympic champion Ranomi Romo Duda and the Olympic champions Ferry Wersman answered the questions of the athletes, and before distributing to the young swimmers swimming accessories, good swimming masks and capes, smoothness. As a reminder, the visit of the President Hussein Al Musallam is part of the initiatives to develop the disciplines of swimming in Djibouti.
Impressed because this pool is an indoor pool, and it makes it very easy. That means in rainy weather, when it's very hot, people can still swim here. But most importantly, the significance of our trip, again, is simply to find out what you want. And of course, we help the Djibouti Swimming Federation in very many ways.
Having been here, we can see what the children are like, the programming is like, the pools are like, and we can take all this information back, and when we talk about help and how we can help develop the sport of aquatics, or in particular swimming when we go home, we now have a first-hand account of what the situation is like here to better assess the actual needs so that we can further to continue the development of aquatic sport in these countries. So to be here in Djibouti, it's a great pleasure, and it's been a very nice opportunity for us to see what is already a great promising developing sport here in this country. And certainly this pool is an example of what all countries should strive for through Africa, because this is a first-class training facility that you already have here. But of course, we help to enlarge or enhance that training opportunity for these.
At the invitations of his Qatari counterpart, General Salim bin Hamad Al-Kin Al-Nabit, Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Qatar, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Djibouti, visited Doha from 20 to 22 March 2022, capital of the state of Qatar, for a 48-hour working visit. This visit is part of the participation of General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim in the Doha International Maritime Defense Exhibitions and Conferences under the high patronage of His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar. This exhibition is organized by the Qatar Armed Forces, takes place every 2 years and provides an opportunity to exhibit the most innovative defense equipment, particularly those of the Navy. Beyond the principles of the exhibitions, this fair aims to connect the global maritime defense and security community. During this official visit, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim led a strong delegation of senior officers, including, among other, Colonel Ahmed Jama' Daher Jama', Commander of the National Navy, Colonel Wagdi Jama' Musa, Head of the Regimental Headquarters and the Head of Protocol of the ADF, and Colonel Wa'is Omar Bogore, Commander of the Coast Guard, was also part of the delegation. The Minister of Commerce and Tourism continues its price control operations throughout the national territories to enforce the prices set by the ministries. This time, the inspections took place at the level of the District 1 and 2. The controller says that the tradesmen of the places to remind them the obligations of the deliveries of invoice for any, and the control. The commercial transactions, the controllers noted the unjustified increase in prices at the levels of certain traders. To this effect, all the sales breach in violations were closed, and the offenders were imposed significant penalties. To this end, the traders is obliged to deliver the invoice as soon as possible. The sale of the services is carried out, and the buyers must claim it. The invoice must be drawn up in at least 2 copies. The sellers give the original invoice to the buyers and keep the duplicate. For the international scene, United Kingdom, France, Germany, several countries are facing a renewed epidemic. United Kingdom's boosters dose for the most vulnerable vaccination against COVID-19 is continuing in the United Kingdom, where a new booster's dose is now being administered to people over 75 years of age and to immunocompromised people for the age of 12. The aim is to protect the most vulnerable people from the risks of several forms of the virus, which continues to circulate actively, with an average of more than 100,000 new infections recorded daily over the last 7 days. France, 19,000 new cases daily on average. France is also facing a renewed epidemic with an average of 19,000 daily infections over a week, and a number of hospitalizations that is no longer decreasing. However, the number of the patients in intensive care is decreasing in a country where nearly 18% of the population has received a complete vaccination plan. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.